Hello and welcome to Delta Sparks Pod. I am Evan. This is Dewey Pop Pop Supreme, aka Andy.
Pop, 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 pop.
We have to get that timing down a little bit better, I think.
Well, if you wouldn't change my name with every single episode, I think it'd be easier.
I feel like if I don't change your name every single episode, I'm doing a disservice to our 3 listeners.
They voted and told me to tell you that they're okay with it.
Really? Because all 7 of them messaged me.
You're a liar. You didn't get 7 messages.
I didn't. I wrote a few to myself, but I mean, hey, it counts.
You're so great.
No, they're not those kinds of messages. So episode 18, that is where we are. We have quite the interesting guest today.
I know, I'm so excited.
We're kind of peeling off the banana peel of what we typically do, or the types of people we typically talk to. Mm-hmm. That was a tongue twister and a half.
Yeah.
This is going to be our one, maybe only completely curse and innuendo free. I don't know if I said that right, but I don't know how else to say it. Innuendo.
Yeah.
Like the Inuits, which were native people to the Canadian land.
That's right.
So I think I'm just going to jump into the introduction, Andy.
Yep. Hit it and quit it.
Hit it and quit it. So our guest today, little background, is really good at pointing out signs. Can you not give it away yet?
Well, nobody can read it.
Oh, okay. Our guest today is really good at pointing out signs, has tons of trade experience, including 2 months in construction and 3 weeks pouring concrete. A pretty good mini golfer, and once almost beat Super Mario Brothers on Nintendo. Our guest today hails from Saskatchewan, Canada. Did I say see, now I can't say it. Saskatchewan.
First time you said it right.
You can. Our guest today filmed their first video all the way back in the crazy age of 2017.
Mm-hmm.
There was nothing but four locos and belly button piercings. You can find our guest on Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube, as well as on their own website, which is www.leroyandleroy.com. Please welcome to Delta Sparks Pod, Leroy.
Yay! Hi, Leroy. So we dressed for you today, kind of.
I love it.
Yes. I definitely feel slightly homeless.
Andy asked if I would come on your podcast, and I said, well, I guess if you buy a t-shirt, I will.
And I did.
So we mailed the t-shirt out, and then I said I'd come on.
Yeah, it was a great deal. You're our first paid guest.
I'm getting paid for this.
Yeah, you already did.
This is
the
new.
20 bucks was. I thought it was just the t-shirt was like good faith. Oh no!
I'll be completely honest. My head is on fire, and these sunglasses are scratched to all heck. So I'm gonna go back to my normal look. You guys keep rocking it, but I've got psoriasis on the top of my scalp, and it literally feels like my cat is kneading my skull. So we're gonna go with that. So Leroy, thank you for taking the time to come sit with us today. I became aware of you through Dewey Pop Pop here. She goes, hey, did you see that video? And I'm like, what video? She goes, Leroy and Leroy. And I'm like, Leroy and Leroy. And then she sent me your Instagram page, and I probably spent an hour just swiping. And I was like, you know what? This is so crazy. It just might work. And it is.
You're not wrong. It's been it's so dumb that it works on a lot of levels, and the last few months for us has just been absolutely crazy. We started January at 300 followers on Instagram, and I think as of today we're at 157,000. So yeah, it's been a whirlwind last few months.
Would you attribute that crazy jump in numbers to the pandemic at all? I mean, you gotta have some effect.
I said I kind of wish that we had started doing the TikTok stuff like earlier on in the pandemic, because I feel like I don't even know what our numbers would be at right now. I think people being home and having more time to just sit and do nothing but scroll through TikTok probably makes a difference. Out here in Saskatchewan, though, like we've been pretty lucky compared to everybody else. We haven't had, like, since last spring, a full-on lockdown. Like, we've had restaurants and everything have been open. It's been limited people in them, but no full-on lockdowns. And we're only, I think, 3 weeks away. Well, no, about a month and a bit away from our full reopening now. So I think the pandemic didn't hurt. I think it gave people a reason to laugh and kind of forget everything else during it. And
it also reminds them that there's always something to do. Right?
That's great.
Can you say
there's always something to do?
There's always something to do.
So where did that come from?
Okay, so 2017, 3 of us were sitting around. Actually, we were working at a hockey game. If it gets any more Canadian than that. We were working at a
double doubles, yeah.
And we were talking about making some dumb videos. We'd been talking about it for a little while. And somehow we got onto the topic of everyone saying, oh, there's nothing to do. And it's a Saskatchewan thing.
I was going to say, does that happen often in Saskatchewan?
There's nothing to do here. There's nothing to do. So we said, well, let's make videos where we say there's always something to do. And it's changed a lot from our first video. If you go back, it's a lot different from then to now. But that's how it started. There used to be 3 of us. One of the guys kind of moved out of town. So he's only 40 minutes away, but 40 minutes is a big span in Saskatchewan. So
yeah, so it used to be Leroy and Steve.
It's Leroy and Leroy. It's just we didn't mention Leroy behind the camera. So now it's Leroy and Leroy, but it's Leroy and then Leroy behind the camera.
Gotcha.
Tell us a bit about Leroy behind the camera.
What's that?
Tell us about Leroy behind the camera.
Leroy behind the camera really likes cameras and microphones and technical things. So
unlike me.
Yeah, he does all those things.
Yeah, see on this
camera.
Yeah, see on in our situation, one of us should be the techier one and the other one should be the personality, but sometimes it all falls on Andy. And in that case, we are in big trouble.
Yeah.
Where do you just drive around and see something? Are you guys like literally like, hey, we're just gonna drive around and film as many videos as possible, and you just walk up and you're like, oh, here's a sign, and just kind of riff?
100%. Yeah, we literally get in the car and go drive. Last weekend was a little overboard. We spent about 25 hours in the car, but over the course of 2 days, it was a little ridiculous. But we got a lot of videos out of that, and that's generally what we do, is just go drive somewhere once in a while. Now that it's kind of taken off, people send us signs all the time, so we'll have one that's going to be coming out in a couple of weeks, but we'll have one that will be coming out in a couple of weeks, but it was one that someone had pointed out to us. So we literally drove 4 hours to it, but on the way there, we got like 15 other signs. So kind of just goes like that.
That's great. And have you started plans for total world domination, or sticking to Canada, sticking to Saskatchewan? Or...
Oh, what's funny about that is the U.S. has actually overtaken followers for us on Instagram and TikTok.
You hear that? Our 3 listeners. Let's bump those numbers there, guys.
Well, Evan, you're in New Jersey, right?
Yes, sir.
I was in New Jersey once, and it's the most frightening place I've ever been.
Thank you. I was literally just on TikTok waiting for you guys to come on. I was literally sitting here on TikTok swiping, and this girl comes on and she's like, and this is part 9 of me rating states based off of my geography master's degree. And she's like, in this episode, we're going to do New Jersey. And she just like tore us a new one. And I just responded, and I probably shouldn't have responded through the Delta Sparks pod, but I was like, blah, blah, blah. Feel free to never come back. And then I started reading the comments, and it was like everybody in New Jersey was just going, because she said like, oh yeah, I drove on the turnpike from the south to the north and it just smelled like hot garbage. And I was like, we're the most aggressive state when it comes to driving. Like literally, I cut a nun off once.
That surprises
I mean,
me not at all.
I may have had a hand gesture that I pulled back once I realized who I was cutting off. But it's just it's how we're bred here. I mean, I shouldn't even say bred. It's ingrained in our DNA. It's something about the sewage swamp water that just really gets us going.
To be fair, like I was only in Newark.
Oh,
I've
that
been
was
there.
Newark is like the worst place in New Jersey.
Okay, so I'm not off base in saying it was
No,
the place I've been.
Newark. Many years in a row, Newark has been the murder capital of the United States.
There was like cop car sirens all night. I'm like, I don't like this place. And
But that's also where the New Jersey Devils play.
I'll give a shout out to Marty Brodeur.
Great goalie. That's the only thing I know about hockey. I'm not a hockey like watcher. I love going to see it live because I just love sitting there. This is all I do. I go to a game and I'll sit there and I'll just scream, punch him in the head, punch him in the head. And that's all I do. It's like, I don't go to hockey games for the game. It's like, I don't go to NASCAR. I've never been to a NASCAR race, but I don't go to watch the race. I go to watch the wrecks. Like, let's be honest.
Fair enough.
Oh,
and if
boy.
you yell enough, like eventually somebody will punch someone in the head in hockey.
It might be me.
Pretty safe.
Yeah.
I've been punched in the head a few times. It's okay. I got a thick skull.
Yeah. You look like it.
For
sure.
But yes.
Wait,
yes.
Okay, so I have a question for you, Leroy. So you just riff, right? Sometimes those are hits and sometimes less of a hit?
Yeah.
Question mark?
Yeah.
Do you have a favorite video?
Oh my goodness. Do I have a favorite?
Come on, you had to see this question coming.
I know. And you know,
I have a favorite video.
Okay, I'll tell you my favorite and then I want to hear what yours is.
Okay.
So my favorite right now, like up till this point, is whatever's got the most views. No.
That's cheating.
Shameless plug.
My favorite one actually is one of our YouTube videos, which our YouTube is really steadily growing, but it's way under the other ones.
Yeah.
We did Leroy and Leroy's Guide to Belle Plaine, which we went to a town about 10 minutes outside of Moose Jaw, and we literally just kind of walked through the town and found all of the most ridiculous things about the town we could find to talk about, like an unfinished sidewalk and a reflector sticking up out of the
Shoot, no, you took my answer.
Okay, well now you got to pick a different one because it's already been taken.
Okay. All right, I'm on it. But
I personally liked one recently where it was the 3 traffic pins and it was car bowling.
Yeah, that was a good one.
Those were all knocked down a week earlier. So somebody really did pick up the spare and they got
I love it. I love it.
So I've actually caught myself driving around town looking for signs for you to send you.
Send them to us because the more the merrier. We want to get everywhere. We want to travel across Canada. I mean, even to Ontario, I guess. That's just a shot for Andy.
Hey, we have got
and down in the States too. So
we've got some excellent opportunities. Okay. I talk about this, not as much on the podcast, but we've got Oktoberfest, and that is a hoot and a half. And
hoot and a half. She doesn't go Canadian. She goes Minnesotian. She goes, oh, it's a hoot and a half, don't you know?
Shut up, Evan. But yeah,
it was kind of like Little Canada, though, Ev.
It is.
Yeah, they're like our little brother.
Me and my wife right now, I'm taking her through How I Met Your Mother for the first time. Okay?
Good.
And we just watched the episode where it's one of the Christmas episodes and what is her name? Oh my God. Not Lily, the other one, the Canadian one.
Robin.
Colby Smulders.
Robin Chbosky is getting homesick and wow, I'm really just blanking right now. Marshall, wow, this is great podcast stuff. Marshall takes her to a Minnesota bar. And the running joke is that all Canadians are afraid of the dark. And
that's not a joke.
It's like one of the jokes was like, why don't Canadians blow out the candles on their birthday cake? Because they're afraid of the dark. But the hatred the people from Minnesota had for Canadians And then they went to a Canadian bar, and it was basically just like 1986 called, and they wanted their mullet and tuxedo, jean jacket tuxedo back. And I loved it.
To me. I will say, like, all those How I Met Your Mother, the Canadian jokes, we love that stuff. We are all about, in Canada, the self-deprecating humor. We love to make fun of ourselves, and that's why.
And then we apologize for it.
Sorry.
Yeah, you make fun of yourselves, you apologize for it, but you don't really. I mean, there's even some of the better known, Canadian comedians. Well, that was hard to say. Canadian comedians. Even they didn't really make fun of other people. They're always making fun of themselves.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
Because we're so nice that we don't want to make fun of other people. We have to make fun of ourselves.
Nice. Sure. I really like the phrase "there's always something to do." And beyond just like it's a great, tag, it's a great catch phrase. As we, get older and the times change, I see like kids these days, and they are always like glued to their phones.
But Evan.
I'm not but I'm serious. Like, I'm 32. I'll be 33 this year. So will Andy. And just in my lifespan, in my lifetime, when I was a kid, we played outside from sun up till sundown, especially in the summer, right? Like, you had a trouble bringing me back in the house. And nowadays it's like, I feel like the younger generations are so just stuck inside, and they're always saying, well, there's nothing to do. There's nothing to do. And it's like, what I love about what you guys do is you're making something. You're like, there's always something to do. Go do it, whatever it may be. Like, figure it out. Be creative.
Kids really love it when you use that line on them. My son, I have a 10-year-old. He really loves it when I tell him there's always something to do. Not at all. And I think it's funny that you talk about that. I think the pandemic has not been good for all of that stuff. Like, my son was that way. We couldn't get him inside. When the pandemic hit and we were locked down, he's an only kid. So Xbox was how he could talk to people. Xbox was how he could communicate. So now that we're coming out of it, we just got cleared here in Saskatchewan for the kids to play sports again. You can see the shift start to begin. It's kind of nice to see. Sorry, Andy. Andy's just in lockdown in Ontario.
Yeah, Andy's in full-on lockdown. I went grocery shopping the other day for the first time without wearing a mask since the pandemic. We're opening up real quick, which is nice. But yeah, I don't know. I really like there's always something to do. Just go do it. Like, that's kind of the reason we bought this house. Me and my now wife were quarantined. I didn't work for a month voluntarily. I took a month off due to my wife's health stuff, just not knowing what was going on with the pandemic and what it was and like what I should be doing. And I literally sat on the couch in like a 500 square foot little cottage while she continued to work remotely. And I was just going stir crazy. I'd watched all the shows. I watched all the movies. I'd played all the games. My phone, my battery was constantly dead or on fire because I was just constantly on it. And I wanted to go do like projects around the house, or I wanted to like go out and see people, and I couldn't. And that's, I think, is the worst part of this whole pandemic, is just the total disconnect from normality.
Well, at least you're a little bit more of an introvert, right? Like, self-proclaimed introvert.
Yes. You have your catchphrase, which is there's always something to do. My catchphrase is live, laugh, leave me alone.
I actually really like that too. I can get on board with that. At times, I took one of those like personality tests once. My wife gave it to me and said, see what comes out on this one. Turned out I was like 80% introvert and 20% extrovert. And I get all my extrovert out when we're out doing our Leroy and Leroy stuff. We see people, we talk to them. After that, I'm pretty much introvert the other 80% of the time.
Yeah, don't want to put on pants. Don't want to talk to anybody.
Okay, well, I'm with you on the pants thing, but like me, I need people. Like, I'm going crazy not being able to see people and like getting fat, and it's great, but like I miss hugs.
I mean, being on the heavier side might be better for hugs.
Wasn't sure where you're going with that, Ev. Thought we were going to throw hands later.
No. Yeah, I definitely am an extrovert to a point. I think all three of us are. Danny, wow, Andy is definitely more of. I don't know why.
That's a new one. That's
It's been a long day, guys. It's been a long day. But there comes a certain point in the day where like I don't want to talk to anybody. I don't want to. I get calls. No, it's just like I get phone calls. Like I'm out at work every day, right? I'm on Instagram constantly, like chatting with people, getting messages, this, that, and the other thing. Comes to a point where I'm just like, I don't want to. If someone calls, if it's past 8:00, it's a good chance I'm not answering.
There's zero reason for anybody to call me past 8 p.m.
Like it's just not happening.
No.
But it's something I got to get better with. I'll tell you the big downfall for me and my wife with TikTok is she started seeing these like ADHD videos of like people are like, I have ADHD and here are the symptoms. And Leroy, you probably don't know this, but my wife is a licensed therapist. So anytime I'm on TikTok now and I'm just swiping and something ADHD is said, she goes, I told you I have ADHD.
We've all been telling you that, Ev.
I am very focused when I'm doing something.
That I think is one of the symptoms.
That's one of the like the skills of ADHD. I think.
That you're hyper focused when you're on your thing that you want to be on.
Like an ADHD superpower.
Its brain was just like.
I don't know. I don't know. I don't watch them long enough to know.
I have a question for you, Evan. Do you know who Bob and Doug McKenzie are?
They're brothers.
Yeah.
Or partners.
They are not lovers.
I've been business partners.
Okay. They are, well, they probably are that.
I don't know. I'll be honest. Right? I have no clue.
You know who Bob and Doug McKenzie are, right?
Oh, yeah.
Very good.
Question.
I'm Ron Burgundy.
Do you know what SCTV is, Ev?
Yes.
Okay, SCTV. Bob and Doug McKenzie were on that, and essentially there wasn't enough Canadian content on SCTV, so they added this extra segment at the end, and that's where Bob and Doug McKenzie came from. Two brothers who just talked about Canada and made fun of each other for the most part. I guarantee you've heard the 12 Days of Christmas as sung by Bob and Doug McKenzie at some point in your life without realizing.
I probably have. And a
beer.
And a beer.
So good. Yeah.
My Canadian knowledge is not vast, but most of my favorite comedians are originally from Canada.
Jim Carrey?
Jim Carrey, yep.
That's one I know.
But as far as like the Canadian entertainment, like I don't really know much that goes on up there. I don't like. I have an app on my phone that gets random shows, and sometimes I catch like Canadian SVU, which is like, oh gosh, somebody sped past a moose and didn't slow down. Special Victims Unit.
Okay, here let me give you a quick rundown of Canadian shows that you need to watch that you'll love. Okay,
you got my pen is ready. Hit me.
Or the ADHD thing there. So, Mr. D. Add that to your list.
Mr. D.
Mr. D. Absolutely hilarious. Throw Corner Gas on there.
Definitely.
Is that corner gas or corn of gas?
Corner
gas. Like in
okay.
Corner gas.
Having with gas. Gotcha. Gassy in the corner.
Now, I haven't watched a ton of this one, but if I don't say it, I'm going to have people yell at me. Put Letterkenny on there.
Yeah.
Letterkenny.
Yeah.
I've watched.
Is that like a South Park spinoff? Is that where like Kenny always lives and doesn't die?
No, it's about like super rural Ontario town, and it's Canadian Hicks. They're amazing. It's super, super funny. You'll enjoy it, Ev.
Is this like the Rebel Amish show?
No.
Okay.
There's we've got some.
From the few minutes I've been on here, Evan, I think you'll really like Letterkenny.
Okay.
You will.
Okay.
And this D too. Okay, those are my three.
Okay. I feel like seeing as this whole idea came from being at a hockey game, have you ever seen the movie The Thug with Sean William Scott, where he becomes an enforcer for a
Goon.
Goon. Yeah, it's not called
the Goon.
Goon. Yeah.
Not
Wow. You know what? I'm trying here, okay?
Did you say
Typically, that is by far, to me, what Canada is. It's just hockey, simple people, lots of beer.
And you so you enjoyed Goon?
I did.
Then you will enjoy Letterkenny.
Okay.
Well, we probably should add Trailer Park Boys on that list if you haven't.
Oh, I know who the Trailer Park Boys are.
Bubbles.
Well, that started out as just a Canadian thing. So
were the Trailer Park Boys the guys who used to do the prank phone calls?
no. You're thinking of the Jerky Boys.
The Jerky Boys. That's who I'm thinking of. Because I just remember this one. It's like, hello, this is Saul Goodman. I'd like to buy some furniture for my apartment.
Oh, no.
Hello. Yeah,
That's
no,
like
I'm
your
horrible.
grandmother, Evan.
That's my bubby. Yeah, I'm horrible at remembering names of shows for some reason. Even though, like, I have a shirt that says I speak fluent movie quotes. There's a show I always reference on here, and I'm gonna say the name wrong. Big Mouth?
No, you got it.
I got it right. I usually say Big Head.
Yes. Smash Mouth.
Smash Mouth. But for some reason, I can quote you line for line, but when it comes to remembering the names of the things or apparently the characters, I'm just god awful.
It's not happening. That's all right.
Yeah,
Like
maybe that's part of my ADHD. This episode of Delta Sparks Pod is sponsored by Chuck Star Leather Goods. Chuck Star Leather makes the ultimate upgrade for your hard hat. Chuck Star is a small family-owned company that designs, tests, and produces its signature Chuck Band elk leather headgear upgrade in Southern California. Their materials and supplies are sourced exclusively from specialty vendors throughout the United States. Chuck Star Leather Goods believes in creating American jobs and supporting the American worker. Stand out, look great, be comfortable. Chuck Star, your new standard. So speaking of ADHD, you know, a lot of people try to give me advice, you know, they really try to like sit me down and give it to me. But sometimes I just don't want to take it. But for our listeners who are interested in just a little bit of info, this is our segment called Just the Tip. Leroy, this is an opportunity for you to give our listeners some life advice or work advice or, I don't know, Saskatchewanian advice. Where to go, who to see, what not to do.
I've heard good things about Davidson.
Holy cow. Yeah, they've got an A&W there.
Love a good A&W.
So like your main audience is like all tradespeople, right? From my vast experience,
them, yeah.
I have no clue.
From my vast experience, let me tell you, when I did construction for a couple months, nobody was better at going to get people coffee than me.
That is a very important skill.
I was really good at remembering the coffee orders. So just want to throw that out there. Okay, this was me dragging it on so I could figure out what my tip would be. You know what? Here's my tip. Just take time for yourself, especially through this pandemic. Take time to do something for you, whatever you like to do, whatever that may be. Focus on yourself for a little while because I think it's important.
And don't forget my coffee order.
True story.
Listen, when I was an apprentice, I used to do a coffee run for 45 guys. Okay. I built out of plywood, like a box with little slots for each of the coffee cups because
smart.
I'd go to Dunkin Donuts or Tim Hortons.
Timmy's!
You know, the little carrying trays have 4 slots. Sometimes you can fit a 5th one right there in the middle if it's, you know, you got your proportions right.
Stack them. That's what I do.
Yeah, you can, but when you
But not
have 45, when you have 45 coffee orders and some are iced, some are hot, all different sizes, you got to sit there and it's a little bit of a puzzle. So I built a thing to sit in my front seat so I could literally pull up and in and out, just pop them in. That's how dedicated I was to providing a good coffee order. The apprentices today, I'll speak for myself. We have one apprentice at my company. Nice kid. Nice kid. He actually looks like he could be on that show, the rural people from, what was it again? Letterkenny. I have it here. I just couldn't remember which one it was. I call him Jebediah, even though his name's Jason, because he straight up looks like a Jewish Amish kid, which those two things don't mix. 6 times now he's gone for coffee. He's forgotten my coffee 4 times and forgotten my food twice.
Evan, I don't.
And it's not just me though. And then like he forgets people's stuff, and then he shows up, and we're like, "What the heck? Like, what is wrong? Like, come on, man! All you had to do was take the list and the money and go pick it up." And he just like sits down in the parking lot on the ground and just covers his head, and he's like, "I quit. I'm not doing this anymore." And I'm like, "Bro, if you can't get coffee, there's like a deeper issue here that we need to be having a conversation about." So
you can't take the pressure.
You mentioned the Dunkin Donuts thing, and I don't want to get thrown out of Canada, but Dunkin Donuts is pretty darn good. It
is.
I'm not going to say it's better than Tim Hortons because I still like living here, but it might be a little bit better.
He's actually in Evan's basement in New Jersey. That's where the brick wall is.
Yes. Yes. You said earlier that, and I'm not going to divulge any information, but that someone that you're very close with lived in Massachusetts. Massachusetts is the home of Dunkin Donuts. That's where their headquarters.
Oh.
They're everywhere there.
There's literally a Dunkin Donuts in every corner. When I lived there, I once walked out of a Dunkin Donuts, and directly across the street was another Dunkin Donuts.
I've seen that.
It's amazing.
We have that with Timmy's.
Do you have any Tim Hortons that are like mixed with other fast food chains up there?
Wendy's.
A Tim Hortons Wendy's combo?
Yeah.
Ooh. Nothing better than a hot cup of coffee and some chicken nug-nugs.
Usually those are on the highway, on the 401.
Oh, see, like we actually have stores. Like a good chunk of the Dunkin Donuts down here in New Jersey are half Dunkin', half Baskin Robbins, which is an ice cream place.
Ice cream and coffee.
And I'm like, that's really odd.
We had a short window in Canada when Tim Hortons and Cold Stone Creamery were in the same building. We had one here in Moose Jaw.
I love going to Cold Stone.
It went out. Yeah, it's not a thing anymore, but it was delicious.
I love going to Cold Stone, not for the ice cream. I sit there and I put tips in the jar, so they have to keep doing that stupid song and dance when you put a tip in their jar.
I was at Cold Stone once and I put a tip in the jar and they didn't do nothing. So this is below.
I would have reached my hand in and taken all of it back. Plus some.
Ev, what's the song and dance? Will you do it first?
I don't know it. I'll be honest. But they do like a little ice cream jig. And do you know the sizes at Cold Stone Creameries?
I have never set foot in a Cold Stone.
Don't, because it's quite heavenly and addictive. The sizes at Cold Stone are
like Starbucks.
Want it, need it, gotta have it.
Ooh.
Those are the 3 sizes.
Do they scream it at you too?
No, you have to scream it at them. Yeah, you're basically in there like,
I would ever get that.
You're like, gotta have it. Gotta have it.
Just jonesing.
Just jonesing for that cookies and cream. So yeah, I like it. Leroy, how about a quickie?
Let's do it.
Let's do it. Okay. So 5 totally random, nonsensical questions chosen at random by yours truly. Clear your mind. I will ask the question. First thing that comes to mind.
Free your soul.
Let your mouth speak the truth. Okay, question 1. How do you feel about pineapple on pizza?
Indifferent. I like a teriyaki chicken pizza with a little pineapple on it. I don't mind that.
Okay.
Teriyaki chicken. We'll talk about this later.
Yeah. I mean, I like a nice chicken parm pizza, but pineapple on pizza? Okay.
I like pineapple.
If I can read my handwriting, what would you name your boat if you had one?
SS Don't Sink.
SS Don't Sink. Okay.
Hi.
I would have said Leroy above water.
That works too.
I'm Leroy. He's Leroy behind the camera. That's Leroy above water.
On the water.
Answer now to Evan's answer.
You can have it. Question 3. In one sentence,
Go.
how would you sum up the internet?
Oh boy. No.
I think that's a perfect answer.
No.
I have one. It would never lie to me.
I saw somebody say something recently.
You read on the internet.
Yeah, someone said something recently. I don't know if it was a commercial or a TV show. They go, at one point in society, we did not have a vast, accessible, information stream with all the answers to everything. And we thought, well, if only we had that, the world would be a smarter place. Guess not.
No.
Fake news. Fake news.
For all the like brilliant and smart information that's out there, there's 5 times as much made up non-brilliant information.
I think the worst thing that
I'm
happened to
putting
the
probably
internet,
3/4 of that out there.
yeah, and I'm putting another 1/8. I think the worst thing that happened to the internet was WebMD. I've diagnosed myself with cancer on 7 different occasions.
And he's still with us.
Still kicking. Okay, question 4. What would the world be like if it was filled with nothing but male and female copies of you?
Oh.
There would always be something to do.
It's true. It's true. I think, nobody would be bored, but we'd only be out visiting each other for like a couple hours a day, and then everybody would be off doing their own thing after that.
Yeah, very Garth-ish.
Yeah.
I feel like for people who are 80-20, 80 introvert, 20 extrovert, Garth is your spirit animal. I don't know if Andy knows who I'm talking about.
Evan, I almost said some bad words. I do know who you're talking about. Thank you.
Prove it.
Party on, Wayne.
Okay. All right, last question.
Prove it.
Very serious one. What would be the coolest animal to scale up to the size of a horse?
Don't say a horse. A mini horse.
That's what I was going to say.
This is like deep thought that you got to put into these questions. Which
Really isn't.
Answers.
Really isn't.
Answers.
Ready? 3, 2, 1. Animal.
House cat.
There we go. There we go. It's like a liger.
6-foot house cat. An 8-foot house cat.
Oh my gosh. That would be so mean.
And if you get them fixed, then you've got a 6 to 8 foot foopy. We got our cats fixed, and they got a little extra sway to them now.
Oh.
A little floor sweeper.
I need to get my cat fixed because she is the most irritating thing in the world several times a year.
Does she crawl across the carpet like as low as her body can get, like kind of like a gecko, and just goes with her butt
butt way up in the air?
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah, that's calling for the
Right now.
cat
Worst thing ever.
Little cat scratch fever right there. Yeah, we called that several things in our house that I can't say on this episode, but I'll share them with you. Well, Leroy, thank you so much for taking some time to sit with us and talk about, I don't even know what, but I found it interesting, and I had a good time. Like anytime. I would love to come back on and just talk about nonsense with you guys at any point, because I think this should be a regular. Absolutely. That's basically all we do.
Yeah. We're not really good at
we try to come up with like good topics, but it always turns into Speedos and cats, and the like.
Cats
So
in Speedos, thank goodness. But
what if I painted myself head to toe as a cat wearing a Speedo?
actually, I wish you would.
I mean,
I'm sure there was a musical like that.
did you watch Cats? Did you watch the new Cats movie?
No,
It's
no.
messed up. Like,
I'll watch
something's wrong
pretty
with that.
much anything, but I won't watch that.
I watched it and was quite disturbed. Actually, here the best way to get a rundown of the new Cats movie: look up Seth Rogen on Twitter. He watched it while he was indulging, and he tweeted out all of his thoughts on Cats, and it's very, very good.
I just don't know if I could handle James Gordon,
I love him.
cordon head to toe in spandex and fur.
No, I'm here for it.
It's all
Kinda
CGI,
like-
and that's the disturbing part. I think it's even worse because it's all CGI.
Oh my god! Yeah, there's only 2 movies I won't ever watch. That is one of them. The other one's The Notebook. So I'm pretty
Not
set.
missing much there either.
You've seen them? I've seen a lot of bad stuff that I enjoyed. Speaking of bad stuff that you will all enjoy, make sure to check out Leroy and Leroy on Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, and Leroy and Leroy.com. I'm just joking. It's not bad. It's actually really funny. And when you have a few hours to kill,
It's probably the most wholesome 2 hours of your life you'll spend flipping on TikTok.
And if you got 15 seconds to kill, because that's about the average length of one of our videos.
Oh, I just meant that the 2 hours is the black hole that I get sucked in watching your videos.
yes.
That's good. I appreciate that. Continue that, please.
I will.
Yeah. That's how Andy gets past her not being fixed. You know, Adam just sits her in the couch with a phone. She stops, crawling around the house, screaming. It's great.
I still scream, but I'm not crawling around the house anymore.
Yeah, there we go. Well, from all of us to all of our 3 listeners, Andy, how do we end this? Be yourself. Be yourself. Always make sure to spay and neuter your animals. Thank you for watching The Price is Right. I'm Bob Barker.